Welcome to Hot Springs National Park. What's up, Run 50 States My Way? It's Ashley and Ryan, and on our Arkansas Runcation adventures, we left Little Rock and are officially here in Hot Springs to see the town and the national park. This is the only national park that is literally inside of a town. So we're really excited to be here, and you'll notice that I'm bundled. We might even come back to the car to get more layers. Yesterday it was like 77 degrees and that cold front that brought the storm came through, and it is now 40 degrees in Hot Springs and in Arkansas. Crazy. Note behind me is where we parked. There is an entire parking garage right across the street from the Quapaw Bathhouse where there's free parking. So don't pay for parking when you come to Hot Springs. Make sure that you check out the free parking garage. Bathhouse Row. The health benefits of taking the baths were a primary reason for baseball coming to Hot Springs. The players tended to drink heavily and believed the hot bath regimen could boil out the impurities in their system. The Buck staff, still in use as a bathhouse, was built in 1912 and hosted many prominent players. The 1915 Fordyce Bathhouse is now the National Park Visitor Center, which we're going to first. Tours include the gym where many players trained. So over here across the street is the Buck staff. This is the actual only traditionally run bathhouse left. There's also Quapaw, but that's more of a modern spa. So this is the Lamar Bathhouse. The present masonry Lamar Bathhouse, completed in 1923, has a symmetrical Californian style architecture. The large lobby contains nostalgic murals of historic landscapes and country scenes. Art Deco stairs, signs, and light decorated the building. Advertising a tub for every sized person, the Lamar Bathhouse also featured a large sun porch to promote natural health. Today, this is the Emporium, or the National Park store. And because we're so cold, we're going to go in here first. Another stamp for our passport. There are actually 2 locations where you can get stamps in Hot Springs. We're in the Emporium, and from what we understand, there's the date stamp and a bathtub. Test it. Check. It is the 7th. I've learned my lesson after doing the wrong date on one of our stamps, so I always look now. Perfect, and we're going to add the bathtub. Awesome. Another national park crossed off the list. Open springs. As early as the 1840s, the bathhouses were capping springs to control and use them. These springs evoke pre-development days when water flowed freely from the mountainside. The water of open springs has an average temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit. The water is extremely hot as it emerges from the ground, but several species of algae can tolerate its high temperature. Although the thermal water is relatively low in mineral content, some 1,300 pounds of minerals are contained in the water that flows each day from the park's 47 springs. This spring location is located right behind the National Park Visitor Center, the Fordyce Bathhouse. It is really cool. The one national park that encourages you to take its natural resources. Hot Springs allows you to bring your bottles and jugs, and actually sells bottles and jugs to fill. Go ahead and taste it.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna taste it. Ryan spit it out because he doesn't like hot water, but
I just still have one plastic gallon, so
it actually tastes really good. It's very nice. It's hot water. It's not hot like hot tea. It's warm, but it actually is a really good flavor if you would say that water has good flavor. Ryan and I are currently strolling the Grand Promenade that goes behind Bathhouse Row. It's just a nice paved trail, and we're hoping to link up with the shortcut trail that will take us up North Mountain Drive to the tower before we have our mineral bath at the Quapaw. These are all of the cisterns that literally tell you where the different springs go, which is really neat. So each bathhouse has their own covered thermophile that keeps the mineral water safe to drink and be in and all that kind of stuff. So we think we found the trail, and it's right by these cisterns, which is really cool. So all the little green guys. We are literally going up like a straight up incline, which we think we found the trail according to my phone, and hopefully from the sign up here we did, because coming up that, as you can tell from my breathing, was really hard. Whew. Wowza. Okay. Hopefully Ryan's reading the map right. This trail is pretty intense. And again, we're going to the tower, we hope. Get our hike on before we go into our bath. Earning our lunch. We're definitely on a trail. It is marked with the little white things on the trees, but this is almost a straight up incline. So for those of you who are looking for a moderate hike, I would not. I mean, I would say that this is moderate because there's no like crazy things you have to go over or stuff, but the incline and elevation gain makes this trail really strenuous. 50 states my way, I have officially deserved a very big lunch and a definite soak in the mineral water. We are on the peak trail, and when it says peak, it means peak. The nice thing is we've got the viewpoints over there, which I'm excited to go and see. It's kind of through that wooded area right there, but this is what we climbed this mountain to come to see. Normal people drive up here, and now I can see why they do. But we were like, oh, it can't be that far, and it really isn't. From when I started my watch on the Grand Promenade, I'm only at 0.6. So it is definitely not that far from Bathhouse Row. But as you can tell again from my labored breathing, this is a straight up incline. And I'm labeling this as one of the hardest trails simply because of the steepness of the grade. Get me back to Arches right now. I didn't bring my sticks. I have nothing.
You're doing great, honey.
But a bottle of water. And this is really rough. You really don't need trail shoes or regular tennis shoes. Because it's a normal trail. What makes it again difficult is just the sheer elevation gain in a very short period of time. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit harder than Utah, but I'm also
recovering from my surgery. And that was pre-surgery, actually. So, wow, at this point I'm rambling, YouTube. So I'll let you know when we get to the tower. But we are here, and we're gonna go check it out.
Oh, the Quapaw, notable for its distinctive dome, offers more modern bathing and spa services. It reopened several years ago after being closed for more than 20 years. Bathhouse Row represents a long series of bathhouses built to bring the hot waters of the federally protected springs to visitors, with varying degrees of luxury. The first structures built for this purpose were put up in the 1800s, but none of those structures still stand. Many iterations of bathhouses have taken the place of those lost to the various floods and fires of Hot Springs history.
So inside the tower there are 2 levels. Level 2 takes you to an inside area museum. I cannot wait to go up to the higher point to see the mountains. It is actually very beautiful. And up here it talks a lot about how Hot Springs was where spring training was. Babe Ruth loved it here. So this right here is an early baseball glove from the 1900s. And then we have pictures in here, which, sorry for the reflection, that show Babe Ruth here in Hot Springs in 1912. This is great. Myth versus reality. So the myth: in the 1930s, Al Capone and several gangster friends used hidden underground tunnels to pass unnoticed between the bathhouses and the Arlington. Reality: no secret tunnels actually exist. Perhaps the story is based on the park's underground, but certainly not secret creek arch built in 1884. Capone would have found this to be a hot, wet, miserable passageway, since the arch includes Hot Springs Creek, thermal seeps, rats, roaches, and a lack of any kind of walkway. In any case, the gangsters would have no desire to visit an area where the federal government held exclusive jurisdiction and which had no attraction for them except hot baths, which they could and did obtain on the city-owned side of the streets. Mae West, well-known actress Mae West, was romantically involved with local businessman and reported gangster Oni Madden, who once owned the famous Con Club in New York before he moved to Hot Springs. Reality: Oni Madden, who came to Hot Springs to retire in the mid-1930s, was involved with the well-known actress before he became a local resident. However, Oni met and married the daughter of the local postmaster, not Mae West. Made it to the tippy top of the tower here in Hot Springs, and it is windy, it is chilly, but I want you to be able to kind of see. So that is the one hotel right there. And then you can see that we're behind Bathhouse Row. And it looks like that might be another one of the hotels. It's hard to tell when you're up at this vantage point, but it's just absolutely beautiful and breathtaking up here. And yeah, that's the mountain that we just climbed literally to get up here. You can actually see remnants of the trail, that path right there. So we're hoping to take an easier path down than coming up. So the cost to come up inside the tower, we got a discount because Ryan is a veteran, and with the veterans discount, we paid $9 to come up. I believe I saw that the normal admittance is $11 to come up inside the tower, which again encompasses a museum type display on the second landing, and then right up from there is the observation deck. So it cost us $20 basically after tax to come up inside the tower, which is really cool. Right outside of the observation tower is a really great trail map. So we had used the app, which is the National Park app that we have on my phone, and we followed the trail markers that way up. And then we got a hard copy of the trail markers coming down. So we are here. We came up the Peak Trail from the Grand Promenade, and we're going to take the shortcut trail down to the Grand Promenade. So it's a little less because it's a little shorter. Over here it actually tells you what the different elevation is and the distance. So the shortcut trail is only 0.2 miles, where the Peak Trail was 0.54 miles, and both are correctly listed moderate to strenuous because again, it is quite the elevation gain. But this is a really nice trail and sign marker.
So far, I definitely like this trail better. We are on the mountain trail hoping to hook up with the shortcut trail, but this one just doesn't quite feel as strenuous as the peak trail. So hopefully it stays pretty chill. And again, we're going down, not coming up. But when on the trail, these are the things you look for, the little markers. They tell you where you're going and what trail you're on, which is helpful. The shortcut trail is off of the Grand Promenade and actually right by what was the Army and Navy General Hospital during the 1887 to 1940s. The original wooden hospital was removed and replaced in 1933 with the masonry structure that we see today. The hospital closed in 1955. I want to point out that Ryan was right and I was wrong, because we had stopped at this sign and we were like, no, that's not right, that's not right. But if we would have taken those stairs up, it would have taken us exactly to the shortcut trail instead of going down this way, which took us to the peak trail. So either way, we got up to the top of the mountain, we went up one way and down the other. We have made it to Superior Bathhouse. Superior Bathhouse is famous because Superior Bathhouse had the longest continuous operation of all hot springs bathhouse before it closed in 1983. That's now held by the Buckstaff. But what makes this location so special is it's the only brewery located within a national park. They use the hot springs water in their distillation process to create their craft brewery. This is where we're coming for lunch. We made it inside of the Superior Bathhouse and just placed our order for lunch. And Ryan and I are going to split a flight because we're not big beer drinkers, but we do want to be able to taste and try the different beer selection. But we also got their house distilled root beer. So not beer, but house made root beer. Oh wow, that's really good. It has that nice like bite to it. So for our beer flight, we got the Madden #1, which is a blonde ale. Our second choice is number 13, which is the Superior Pale Ale, which is a British style pale ale. Then we have over here this guy, which is the Bee's Knees. It's another blonde ale, which it's light, touch of honey sweetness with fresh basil. And then this last one is called Killer. It is the Irish Red. All right, so let's go ahead and taste the Madden. Very light, very drinkable, especially for somebody who doesn't overly like beer very much. Very smooth and not hoppy at all. All right, the next one I'm gonna sample is the British style pale ale. And again, this is the Superior Pale Ale. Definitely a little darker, a little hoppier, but again, very smooth. That one tastes more like, to me, it kind of reminds me of a Sam Adams or a Yingling. And then this one, again, is the Bee's Knees, the Pale Ale. This one has the lowest alcohol content per volume. This one is only 4.9. Oh, that one's actually really different with that hint of basil. I like that. That's not like your normal beer flavor beer. All right, and our last one, which is the one I'm really excited about. One of the beers that I actually will drink is a Killian's Irish Red, especially at the Dublin Irish Festival. So I do know that I like Irish style beers. Oh yeah, that one's really nice. Has that little bit of kind of that caramel malt flavor that you get with an Irish ale, or an Irish Red, I should say. And I completely agree, slightly malty and biscuity. This one is a really good Irish style ale, so we can't wait for our food to come out. But so far, the root beer and the beer flight are really good. It's my way. I got the French style mushroom soup with the sweet potato salad that looks absolutely delicious. And Ryan, in typical Ryan fashion, got wings.
Yay!
So I'm standing outside of Quapaw Bathhouse. This is the bathhouse that is also operational. So there's two on Bathhouse Road that still offer baths. This is the location that's more like a modern day spa, where the other location is designed to be much more traditional and still does things in the style of what was done in the 1900s. We are at the Quapaw Bathhouse, about to enjoy a couple's mineral soak with soothing muscle relief salts. It also looks like the tub has 2 glasses of mineral water for us to drink, along with a bell in case we need anything. Now, we did have to verify that neither Ryan nor I has any type of heart issues, and we had to verify that I'm not pregnant and sign a waiver because we are sitting in essentially a hot bath. Well, Run 50 States My Way, Ryan and I just finished our couples soak to soothe our muscles from the Little Rock Marathon and our hike here at the Quapaw Bathhouse. We're still in our little private chamber. Really nice, very clean, well attended. It felt wonderful. You're in here about 20 minutes. The cost for the 2 of us with the veterans discount was about $49. So I'd say well worth it for what you get. And it was absolutely magical and a true highlight of our trip to be able to say that we got into one of the bathhouses. Come out of your little private bath, they give you a peppermint scented cold towel to cool off. This is amazing. It's helping my sinuses so much. They give you another glass of mineral water, and even better, check out the ceiling. This is where it's at here in Hot Springs. What did you think, Ryan?
It was fantastic, very relaxing.
We absolutely loved our time at the Quapaw Bathhouse. Again, we were able to do it as a walk-in, so we got here and we just went inside and asked if they had any appointments available, and they had a 1:30, and we took it for the couple's bath. It was magical, relaxing, and I must say, a lot of the stiffness and soreness that I did feel is gone. So now we're heading to the Fordyce Bathhouse, which is this building right here, and it is the visitor center for the national park as well as the museum for the bathhouses. This is the ladies' cooling room. So this is a needle shower. You basically stand in there and water comes at you from all different directions. It looks like a torture device. Okay, so this is a steam cabinet. You would literally sit in here with your head coming out of this hole, and they would roast you like a chicken, essentially. And then this guy right here is a sitz bath, which I can't imagine how this would work. So you basically sit over this. I'm thinking it would be kind of like a bidet, but not quite. I don't know how I would even, get in and out of that. But yeah, you basically sit in this. It's a sitz bath. So here's another example of one of the needle showers next to a sitz bath. A feature of great scientific interest is the hydrotherapeutic room. Its equipment included sunray cabinets, frigid cabinets, devices for sprays, douches, sitz baths, electric baths, and the like. The bathing variations available in this room were generally prescribed by physicians for specific ailments or injuries, although most therapies did not require a prescription. There were no known deaths by electrocution in the electric bath at the Fordyce, but the procedure has long since been abandoned. So this room is the men's bath hall. And of course, they get a beautiful fountain and the famous mermaid ceiling, where the women kind of get shoved off into the corner. But this room is really stellar. So this is really cool. It is an old-fashioned lift that has been transformed into a modern elevator. It even has the original lift shaft, which is how they would operate it. This is neat.
Second floor.
We're in the ladies' dressing room, which is a lot more opulent than the men's dressing room. In the men's dressing room, it was just the little cubbies with lockers, but in the women's dressing room, there are actually lounges and places to sit and relax. In here is the Hubbard tub, which was installed in this room in 1939 for conducting physical therapy with non-ambulatory patients. The therapist normally was in the water with the patient, manipulating the afflicted parts of the body. The buoyancy and warmth of the water enabled people to move joints and exercise muscles impossible to use elsewhere, which is something not in this form, but we know that aquatherapy is still a very important thing to use for physical therapy. Not like modern gyms today. We are in the gymnasium at the Fordyce Bathhouse. This is wild. Apparently the third floor of the Fordyce Bathhouse actually had staterooms for women to stay in, and guests could rent private staterooms during the day in which to rest and dress following the bathing regimen. These rooms had only Spartan furnishings, and the charges for use were kept low. So you didn't stay overnight, but it was a chance to kind of have an afternoon nap, so to speak, while you were recovering from your massage, your treatment, and whatnot. That's really cool. So this here, let me get out of my shadow, there we go, is the Fordyce Spring. So this is the actual mineral water and spring that's fueling the Fordyce, including all of the quartz crystals. Fordyce Spring.
An absolutely great informative tour at the Fordyce Bathhouse. Of all national parks that have different exhibits and museums inside, this one was probably my favorite. Really encompassed what it was like coming to Hot Springs. We absolutely loved spending the afternoon touring inside there, and saving this for last was really smart because we had a chance to experience the bathhouse at Quapaw and then see what it was like to step back in time.